Hi all. Right, okay, what is this? What are you up to, Grant? Well, you can see what it is. DD at Saipan. Now, I bought all the original DD at games designed by John Butterfield. Loved them all. They go in the order of DD at Omaha Beach, DD at Tarawa, and then DD at Peleliu. Excellent solitaire games, pretty complex affairs, but very tough, very hard to beat. They probably go in that order, easiest to hardest. I think Peleliu's meant to be the toughest of the bunch, probably Omaha the easiest of the bunch. I've done a playthrough of that one. It goes on a bit. As any of you have watched any of my videos will know. I take my time, enjoy myself, weeks and months go by, episodes, parts come in with over an hour long, sometimes up to 2 hours long of my recent playthrough. Oh, and by the way, if you are watching John or anybody else that has been watching my Red Storm playthrough, I have not given up on that. It's on the other table still. Excuse my Stella cans there in the corner, gathering up. It's been the festive period, it's allowed. They're empties though, by the way. And not just one night's worth of empties, you know. Okay, I'm certainly not giving up on that. I've been really enjoying it. Got the chance to record a bit today, so I didn't know how long I had, so what I thought was I would come and maybe try and set this game up first, and then I thought, well, I could get a bit of gameplay in on Red Storm, but however, we're probably close-ish to finishing the first scenario, Red Storm, so we should be able to get that out of the way and maybe switch between these two games. Now, getting back to this, DD at Saipan. I spoke about the John Butterfield versions. He then must have felt like he had done enough, and Joe Youst took over as a designer for the next game, which was DD at Iwo Jima. I struggled with going to purchase that because it got some bad got some bad reviews, to be honest, and but I was that smitten by the other D-Day games. I thought, well, it's a similar type of game, it looks the same, it's got a lot of the same stuff in it, so it can't be that much, it can't be that terrible and whatever. So yeah, I got it, and well, the big thing that a lot of people complained about was the fire dots on the map. I know you can't. Well, actually, we could get this out of the way now. Hang on. Yeah, the fire dots on the map, that they removed them from Iwo Jima, and that was a big uproar of everybody was all against that. Now, I didn't think I was that bothered about it, but as I did try and set the game up and try and play it, I did find it just a bit odd, and then I thought, well, I didn't mind the dots, and I don't think anybody did. I mean, I suppose if you look at the map, well, as you can see, they brought the dots back in for this game. So that's good. I think that is good because, I mean, yeah, so it's very colourful, the map, and maybe having all the dots takes away from the sort of map art. Now, that might have been something to do with Joe Youst, because I think he done all the map graphics for the previous games, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe he felt when he had more control over the design that he wanted his map to look better and do away with these dots. It could have been something, maybe, I don't know. However, I've not minded them, but I suppose the thinking of it was to clean the map up a bit and make it more, maybe some people when they first see that, it looks a bit of an eyesore with all these colours and dots and all that, and maybe that's what the intention was. However, they brought it back. So obviously the fans of the games must have got to Joe, and he's decided that he would bring that back. But that wasn't the real bad for me. The rulebook was just, it's not good. Now, it's been a while. It's going to be over a year or so. Probably even, I don't know. I can't remember when that one came out. It could well be about two or 3 years ago since I maybe not that long ago. Between the last couple of years, I probably got it. Yeah, should probably done my homework and find out when it was released. I probably didn't. I did buy it early on in release, but it wasn't that far after it came out. But the rulebook is just, it's just not good. I can't remember what was bad about it because it was that long ago. That since I tried it, that's basically what I'm saying. But it just felt like it was unplayable. It was just, I mean, I know some people have probably got to the table, managed to play it. There is a couple of videos out there, but yeah, I watched one, and I think the guy, it looked like he was if he wasn't getting things wrong, the rules were just all, it was just a muddle. So I swore I would never get this game because I was annoyed when the designer came out and said that he was starting the new design of D-Day at Saipan and he was looking for playtesters and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I think I even made a comment on BGG about it, saying, look, can we not get a fixed rule book for the game that everybody's just paid the money for, rather than you bringing out another game? You know, it's kind of annoying that. And they said that they were going to do another rule book, redo the rule book and whatever, blah blah blah. And there was some folk hoping that with the release of this game, that they might have done that and maybe even supplied the rule book in the game, so you were buying it and getting a new rule book for Iwo Jima. No, it's not happened. The new rule book is getting developed, I believe, but I don't know when you're likely to see it and how you're going to be able to get it, because, you know, I paid for the game already. I'll probably have to download it and try and print it out or something. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not going to revisit that. I certainly wasn't going to revisit Iwo Jima until they had done something about the rules, because it was just, yeah, it just wasn't happening. And like I say though, I did swear, I was adamant that I wasn't going to buy this game. However, reading up on a little bit, to be honest, there's not enough of a lot to read up on out there on this game. There's not many questions on the BGG forum for it. I think maybe the designer probably frequents, what is it? Is it the Consum World place? But there's not enough of a lot out there. But the stuff that I did read did look like it was maybe taking it back to how it should be. So I took a chance and got it. There we go. Well, I need to do something for my Christmas, so we went with this. And so, yeah, and I've read through most of the rules up to now, not quite right through it. And it does feel like, I mean, there's little bits that are different, but it's difficult to compare it to what Iwo Jima was. And I think probably I'm going to find out when I start playing it. And yeah, I probably should not be recording this and just doing it I'll play through off camera, but it seems to be that that's not the way to go. It seems to be that I get a better result for myself by pressing record, as I've said, I think, before. It keeps me with it and whatever. And yeah, maybe some other people. I mean, obviously, this game, it's not really been out that long. I'm in the UK, so I think I only got it just after the pre-order part. It just came out, so there's not any playthrough. There's a guy done a couple of videos out there. Watched a bit of that. His first video, the camera's away back. You can't really see what's going on. I think he does zoom in on the second part of the playthrough. But there was, what I've seen was quite a few things going wrong at the beginning. I mean, I had to look back in the land and stuff right away, and it looked like he was getting some of that wrong. But anyway, and you know me, if any of you do know me, I like to get things right. And yeah, rules are, I need to play by the rules, get it right. So there's nothing, I've not set it up, and that's why I thought I was going to just set the map up here. But there's a couple of charts and that come with the game, and I thought maybe go through that and set it up as well, because I dare say some people might have difficulty with that. So, well, I'll see. I'm going to pause the camera now and have a look and see how to go about the setup. Yeah, well, I'll show you these charts. Okay, so we've got this D-Day Saipan scenario setup display. And yeah, like I say, I need to go and have a look at the rules, but you get that, and there's also this. So that's a Japanese setup key, and I think that's to do with all the letters. The letters reference what scenario that you're on. So you've got A to E, I think there, haven't you? Oh no, it even goes up to G and G there. So A to G. I'm looking at the black background with the letters. Oh no, I tell a lie, because there's some letters in black and there's some in white, and I think that's relevant too. So I think then you look at them, and then on the setup display you'll see the letters here. There's a black B there or a white B. So yeah, I should maybe just get things opened up and actually know what it is I'm talking about first. So yeah, here's the rule book, and it's the same format as pretty much all the games, but Iwo Jima was pretty much like this as well, and a lot of this will look familiar to Omaha and you know, the older version of the games, and it's all run by cards yet again, and the cards are rather than me having to shuffle them up again, because I've shuffled them up. There's a an example of one of the cards, and you've got random results there. That's the event part with possibly a close combat event. Then there's a fire action for the Japanese, and then you've also got artillery fired in here, and that just tells you the card number. So this is all the same, and that's why I think I should be able to just try and have a go at the game a little bit, because it's pretty similar to the other games. I mean, it's been a wee while since I played Omaha Beach, to be honest, but I have played all the 3 original games, so some of it's still in my mind. And then when you read through the rules, as I have been doing over the last day or two, you know, a lot of it comes back, but there is little differences I've noticed somewhere. A lot of these important parts that are highlighted in red are ones to keep an eye on. I've noticed them. There's one right there, for instance. Japanese artillery fire is resolved at the end of the US action phase when allowed. So you actually have your US action phase, whereas previous games I think you had it just after the Japanese fire phase, didn't you? Yeah. And yeah, unfortunately they've stuck with this same idea. This is one thing I didn't quite like. I don't know, I can't remember if it was worse than what this is or if it's just the same in Iwo Jima. I was going to go and open the box up and look, and I think the point of this was to avoid extra counters, because you've got a 4-step unit here, and on the back of that is a 2. There's the back of it. There is a 2-step. And you have these step loss counters that come in between. So you draw these randomly. Once this takes a hit, you draw this randomly, and then that gets attached to that to say that it's 3 steps now. And the -2 is obviously its strength, and then there's the weapons that it carries. The good thing about this is it randomizes the weapons and makes it harder to, you know, you're not going to know what weapons you're going to get sometimes. It's a little bit odd, but maybe that's a good part to it. But it means you've got these extra counters all scattered over your units, and then when the unit takes a step loss again, it goes down to 2 steps, so you just flip that over and you discard that, and then when it takes a step loss again, you draw another step loss counter, and this is a step loss 3, and then again it's just 1 step. You look at the 1 step side, obviously there's this 3-step side to the counter, and there's a 1-step side to the counter. So you then randomly draw one of these, and then it would give you a random weapon to still have. And then once it got hit again, that was it. You know, in the original games, you had an extra counter for the unit, didn't you? And you used to bring that in, and it just means you're having to stack these counters, and yeah, that's not great, but. Like I say, I can't recall if it was worse than that in Iwo Jima. I get the feeling it was just the same, but Maybe it was. Maybe there was more of these step loss counters and made it. Surely not though. Surely you would only need the one and just switch it over. Okay, so they're setting up for play on page 8. Now what I thought I'd do. Well, you've got the first scenario, which is D-Day, just the 15th of June. Tells you there it's the first 4 game turns. Takes 3 to 4 hours. Well, we know in Grant's world it'll be a lot more than that. Expanded beachhead goes from 16th to 17th, and then drive to Azulito Airfield in Garapan, 18th to 19th of June. That takes a bit longer, I want to say. It takes 4 hours, and then there's the campaign. So what I was thinking at first is I maybe will. I mean, I'm not one for doing just the sort of introductory scenario. I'd sooner do the whole campaign, and I don't have a rush to take these games down off the table. They can sit there and gather dust as they generally have done in the past because they've been there that long, and just get to it when I can, whenever I feel like a wee shot. And like I say, I'm going to split it between. I don't want to. I'm not going to give up on Red Storm because I was enjoying that, so I'm going to just switch between the two. I might just do this, but what I think I can do is, because you just set up for this, and basically you go, if you're going to do the whole thing, you do all these scenarios in that order. You just do the whole lot. Well, that's not technically true. I think there's maybe different starting points to these two in between. But this one would be the beginning of the campaign anyway, is what I'm saying. And it might have some things that you don't set up on a display or the US record track. Well, no, the holding box display. We've got some displays across here on the. I'm going to get some glare there, because you'll notice the map before in the older games it had all the card track up the top there and that. Well, this is it's just a complete map. The only thing you do have on it is you've got the terrain key here, and what have we got down here? Yeah, got command post range, track record phase, terrain combat effects chart, and then there's terrain key, and everything else is just a map. So there's no space to do any of the cards. So I'll just come down there. Right, sorry, I can't avoid that glare, I don't think. Well, I had to move the lamp out of the way. I might need to do something. It's difficult, all this, once you've got big lights from above and all that. I've not got a professional setup or anything like that. There's the sort of turn sequence track with all the cards. There's the amphibious ops phase and HQ phase, first event phase, Japanese fire phase, and similar to the other games. And then again, sorry, I can't really stop that glare. I need to move the lamp away, but I'm probably not going to be showing much of this area. And if I do, I'll adjust the lamp when I can. When I'm going to, I could always put that lamp off when I'm going to do it. It's dark now, so it might not have. These are boxes for your losses and depth marker. I think some of these were on the map in the older games as well, weren't they? And then there's also this. This is a turn track to mark, the record track, and Japanese reserve pool. So you've got all the charts off to the side of the map. So yeah, and what I was saying was for the full campaign, there might be some units that get set up in these display boxes that I'll maybe not set up right away. Unless there is some issue where I've got to decide, depending on Japanese placement of units. If I've got to decide one way or the other, then I'll set up as a campaign. But if not, I might just set up as the first scenario. With a bit of luck, I've been able to just play through that, and we'll see how we're going, and we can maybe stop at the end of that scenario, or if I feel the urge, just carry on. But if there's things that don't let you do that, then obviously I'll not do that. Yeah, and I think I can get away with it because it talks there. This is page 30, 18.5, campaign scenario. So this is the campaign scenario and the setup for it. This scenario simply combines all the previous scenarios into one scenario that encompasses the action for all the first 5 days. The campaign scenario encompasses all 16 game turns. So then US setup, use the scenario 1 setup for this scenario. All US reinforcements are available as listed. So I'm using the same setup. And then Japanese setup, use the scenario setup for the scenario. So I'm using the same for that as well. And then the special rules, it basically just says use each scenario's special rules until the next scenario's start point, at which time that scenario's special rules come into play. So, yeah, it looks like I could. What's that exception? When playing the campaign scenario, ignore 18.43. Okay. Well, is that not just for... Prior to starting phase 1, the player must draw 1 fire card. All positions adjacent to US units with those fire colours are considered revealed. This does not include depth markers. And that's a special rule for scenario 3, I believe. So we'll have to ignore that one. Well, I wouldn't have been doing that one anyway. I'm using scenario 1. Okay, so there's details of scenario 1. 18.2, this is on page 29. Scenario 1, D-Day, 15th of June. This scenario depicts the first day of the invasion and the effort to reach what was called the 0-1 line. Or the 0-1 line. Whatever. Which was the objective phase line for the end of the day. Game turn 1 is the first game turn of the scenario, and game turn 4 is the last. Okay. So 18.21, US setup. US player places all units depicted on the landing beach setup display. These units correspond to the units listed in the master reinforcement schedule, which is rule 19, game turn 1. I'll just show you that in a minute. It's over the page. The player should also set all reinforcements scheduled for game turn 2, 3, game turn 4 to the side of the map. These units land normally at the indicated beaches. And obviously if we do move on, excuse me, if we do go on past game turn 4, then I'm assuming there will be other reinforcements that might come in as well. Artillery points are not used in the scenario. So, well, again, it did say with the campaign that we were to set up as per scenario 1. So my guess is we don't get artillery points till possibly the second scenario kicks in on game turn 5, I guess. Or it might even be further on, I don't know. As one of the important notes, all LVT units are removed from play at the end of game turn 4. Okay, kind of irrelevant to play in scenario 1 because that's when the game ends. But, okay, I suppose if you're watching this in the campaign, then you're not going to have them after game turn 4. Anyway, 18.2.2, Japanese setup. Consult the scenario, setup display and follow instructions on the display. And in 3.2, okay. Okay, just at a glance at 3.2, and it does actually have some information that I might jump back to. So, all Japanese units begin with their unrevealed side face up. All depth markers not placed on the map are placed face down in the Japanese depth marker pool display. Japanese units from all scenario 1 groups are not placed on the map are placed face down in the Japanese reserve units pool. Units in the reserve pool on the setup display are placed in the Japanese reserve pool on the game turn indicated. Yeah, okay. That was that one of the charts that I showed you. Okay, and then special rules. Before the landing phase of game turn 1, pick 1 fire card. The 3 fire colours on that card indicate which position start game turn 1 in a disrupted state. Place a disrupted marker on the appropriate units. Pretty sure that was used in one of the other games, or was that one of the rules? I want to think it was with Pellew, but was that something that got brought in because it was found to be too hard, and I think they brought in a wee disruption at the beginning to try and help you out. But anyway, that's what you do here. Yeah, all yes units are always in. Yeah, this is the one bit that I was just a little unclear about. Somebody asked a question. It was a question that was posted on BGG, but the answer was, well, he asked the question in a way, are your units all in command? Does that mean they get free moves? And then he asked, the question was that, or is it that? And the answer was, he got back was yes. And I was like, right, which one is it? Is it yes to that or yes to that? I get the impression it is yes, but then that kind of baffles me a bit that they should all get free moves. Something feels not quite right about that. But the command situation doesn't really kick in until game turn 5 when the HQs appear, or maybe there's HQs before that. I think it's because it does say game turn 5 is when, in fact, hang on. Yeah, just jumping on, this is what I looked at. This is the special rules for scenario 2. And it says the command and HQ rules are now in effect. Remember, this scenario starts on game turn 5, doesn't it? Hang on. Yeah, game turn 5 is the first game turn, game turn 10 is the last. So the command and HQ rules are now in effect, and command post establishment and range increases occur normally. Regimental HQs may set up as CP. So I think that's when you have to start worrying about your units being in command and getting free moves. But it just, I don't know, feels a lot odd that you get free moves right from the start. So yeah, so I'm not 100% sure of that. And well, what I could hope is, I'm 26 minutes in there already, is that I spend this video just setting things up and pop it out there, and maybe somebody can just confirm. Oh, what I could do is go and look at the command rules, because I don't think I got to that while reading it, although I did glance at it when I read this. I couldn't see anything that was clear. Maybe it will become clearer if I read that. However, if somebody does know exactly what that means, all US units are always in command. Ignore US command requirements. Yeah, sure, it's going to tell you in the rulebook there, Grant. Hang on. So this is rule 10, which the full rule is US heroes, headquarters and command. And this is on page 23, which is command posts and command, rule 10.2. The 8 regimental headquarters of the 3 committed divisions are represented by HQs and command posts, each comprising the regiment's commander, his staff and equipment. Important, regimental command posts do not come into play until game turn 5. So then it talks about the capabilities. Hang on, let me have a wee look at that myself. Okay, there was nothing really in that section that helped me find out. So I went back to find out about, about our actions, how we go about carrying out actions. So Rule 7, US actions on page 13. During a US action phase, the player may conduct actions with any US units or stacks that are undisrupted and in command. So there must be something that stops you from actually giving a unit an activation if it's not in command. That's what that must mean. And what it's saying is, throughout this scenario 1, all our units are in command. We don't need to worry about command. So, but, yeah, it doesn't give them all free commands, I don't believe. Because that doesn't follow the flow of the other games either. So it says no more than 3 actions may be performed by each US division in play. Free actions do not count against this limit. And I think I don't know where I'm getting that. I think it was maybe looking up, seeing that question that the guy had posted and wondering, and it looked like, yeah, I'm not sure. If anybody knows if I'm, to clear that up, if I'm getting something wrong with that, please let me know. But I'm going to go with the fact that we're all going to be in command, so don't need to worry about it. However, I'm going to actually have, because you get 3 actions per division, and then I might get some free actions depending on certain things, but it doesn't mean that all my units get free actions, because then there'd be no point in all that. I'm pretty sure that sounds daft now when I think about it. It's just I think it was just the way the guy's question was written and answered, but it kind of made me wonder. But okay. Yeah, okay, so going back to 18.23 special rules, and we were just stumped that all US units are always in command. Ignore US command requirements. US command requirements. Yeah, I just wish I had read something about that, but if anybody can clear that up for me, please leave a comment. There are no replacement steps during the scenario, so again, artillery points aren't used either, so again, that'll come in later in the game if we carry on playing. One LVT, not LVTA unit may transport one USMC infantry heavy weapons company. The units must begin movement in the same hex or be landing together. Place the unit beneath the LVT counter. The LVT counter now moves as an AFV carrying the company, using its own MA movement allowance, I would think. If the LVT is eliminated or breaks down while transporting a company, the company dismounts and its movement is halted for that phase. It may move normally in subsequent phases. Right, not sure about all that. That's kind of sounds a bit new stuff, that. But the important part is, unlike previous games in the series, elimination of an LVT does not cause step losses or elimination of any unit being transported. Okay, and then finally, our victory conditions, if we choose to just... I suppose that could be a bit of a cheeky wee cop-out if I decide that, oh, wait now, I've got enough for a victory here, we'll just stop now. It'll not be based on that, I can assure you. It'll be based on how I feel the game's going, and we might find we've made certain blunders and we want to restart, and then I'll restart it again and probably try the whole campaign. If I'm enjoying it, and if I'm not finding it as the rules were in Iwo Jima, because if it does kind of head that way, I'll maybe be kicking myself and wish I hadn't purchased the game. But we'll give it its chance. Because I like I say, I love the DDR games and I want more of them, But just with Iwo Jima, something went wrong, but. Anyway, let's hope the team have got it back on track, and okay. So finally, victory conditions. We'll glance at them anyway. US player wins if US forces have not suffered more than 50 infantry step losses by the end of game turn 4, and the US player has attained a minimum of 24 victory points by the end of game turn 4. The player receives 1 victory point for each friendly occupied hex adjacent to the 0-1 line, the red dashed line on the map. I'll look at that once we get into it. The hex must be occupied by at least one undisrupted unit that has a line of communication back to any US beach hex. If the player has not achieved at least 15 victory points at the end of the game, the player has lost the game. If the player has achieved more than 15 victory points but less than 24 victory points, the game is a draw. Okay, so that's it. So we'll see how we go with that. And all going well, I'll just keep the game going. And even if I did manage to attain these victory points. But I'm still guessing these games are still going to be tough. They do sort of follow the same sort of style of play than the first 3 games when it comes to being kind of tricky games, right? I've had a bit of a cold the last few days, been feeling a bit crap, to be honest. Just pausing and coughing a bit. Okay, right, let's get this set up, and then I can sort of leave it at that, because I don't have that much more time tonight anyway, and I might, if I do have a bit more time, I might go back across to Red Storm there. So I think what I'll do is I'll try and set up, I think it'd be better to set up the Japanese pieces first. So we've got, zoom out a bit, Grant. So we've got this here, and then I think we need to look at this. And oh yeah, that was the other bit I wanted to look at on the very last page there. Here we go. And this is the US Master Reinforcement list, and also the Japan Master Reinforcement list. For the Japan one, it says see setup display for at start units and reserve pool arrivals, depth marker pool. Consult the setup display to set up any depth markers that are placed in a position at the start of the scenario. Then randomly pick the number of depth markers indicated below and place them in the Japanese depth marker pool. So for scenario 1 and the campaign, we use all the markers anyway. Okay. There's a setup for the US. So game turn 1, we've got red 2, that's the beach landing areas, and it tells you there's 4 units and 2 LVTAs, I think. That's for game turn 1. And we've got game turn 1 stuff down here as well, further down. I want to say that the engineer, they land at the end of the turn. It's something like, don't know, this was, I think this was in Iwo Jima actually, maybe not in the older games, where I think all these land on turn 1, and then at the end of turn 1, I want to say that maybe these land as well. See, the player conducts beach landing procedure normally. However, second wave units may not move from their beach hex this game turn. Yeah, I think they all land, but these land later after the US action phase, maybe. Yeah, well, we'll see. Right, let's have a look at getting the Japanese setup first, I think. This was the other bit I had to go back and look at in 3.2. This is setting up for play. This is on page 8. It's 3.2 Japanese unit. Consult instructions for each scenario 18, which we just looked at, to set up Japanese units and depth markers using the below procedure. Important, units may already have been eliminated and out of play, while others may start in the reserve unit pool. That's what it means depending on the scenario. If you were doing scenario 2 or 3, maybe there might have been some eliminated. I think that's what that means. So Japanese unit, consult the Japanese setup key and select the Japanese units coded for the scenario being played. The units must be divided into groups corresponding to that scenario's letter codes. Units within each group are placed flag side up and then randomised within their group. So example, if playing scenario 1, all Japanese units noted with a C. How does it reference that though? I'm still kind of struggling to get my head around that. You know, it talks about this example here. Playing scenario 1, all Japanese units noted with a C in a black box are selected and placed in one group, while all units with a D are selected and placed in a second group. Okay, and then I'm thinking, well, what happens to the rest of them? So, I mean, it's just talking about C's and D's there. And we've got B's and A's, and I'm assuming they're just going to be reserves then. I'm not sure I'm following this right. Japanese setup keys and scenario setup display. Say 3.2, which I've just been looking at. So D-Day 15th of June. So it's obviously the black, okay, it's the black boxes rather than the white boxes we're looking at. And it's got number 1 and number 4. What does that mean? And then scenario 1, depth marker. But that's not, is that on that map thing? Hang on. Is that maybe on this somewhere? Yeah. Yeah, the depth markers are, there's the black stars there, isn't it? That was, right, and what, number 1, number 4? Why is it? Could it mean scenario 1, scenario 4? Could be, because that's... Yeah, I think it is. So scenario 4 is obviously the full campaign. Okay. But yeah, I mean, all these the A's and the B's and that, do we just maybe we just don't set them up just now. On saying that, the example could just be sort of cutting off there, just giving, well, then again, why would it say C and D? Why would it not just start with A? Because the A units are further down the map, aren't they? I mean, C and D are all up here. But then A and B, are we not landing down here? We must be, yeah. Yeah, I think we must have to set up them all. Okay, right, okay, I'll go and sort some units out and we'll see. Okay, there's definitely a need to have some better organisation. But with things set up, obviously I clipped all these, over the last couple of days, and just bagged them up. But we're looking at this chart here and wanting to find specific units, and then these are all going to get shuffled up and randomly placed. So yeah, this is going to take a bit of time actually. So what I think I'd maybe be better doing is placing all the units on this chart. Now, the ones with the R, my understanding is just they go across to this. Sorry if we get some glare here, I think it's further down. That Japanese reserve pool, you see there was one there that had the R10 on it. So what it means is the reserve pool, but game turn 10. So I think that's where they go. So we can put them in there, and I'll set the ones that don't have the R onto this first, and then we'll take them off of there randomly. Like, I think we need to take all the C's off, shuffle them up, turn them all over again, shuffle them up, and then randomly place them out where they go. We're using this. Right, there's a C there in position A9. So you can see there's a bit to do to get this game set up. Right, well that took some time. I can see ways to try to look them out, and I was getting better as I was looking through them and looking at the numbers at the end first, which is probably their... it's not their division, is it? No, it might be different for the... Anyway, there's probably an easier way of looking through them. Anyway, that's the ones for the reserve pool. Game turn 3. Now, you might not be able to see them. The boxes aren't quite the same as they are on the setup key, so they're smaller, so squeezing it all in was... So we've got game turn 3 all a day, and game turn 6, they ones, and then I think that's game turn 8, and then they 8 are game turn 12, and then the last... No, they're game turn 10, and they're game turn 12. And that's the rest of them set out. And of course, these other bits that are not got units, that's where the reserve units would have been put. So at first, it might have been better putting them on there as well first, because then I was trying to find the other one. But you get kind of, like I said, if you looked at the numbers, I don't know how I'm going to put this away again when it comes out, because these are all got 136 on the end, so they're kind of all, so if you could look at all the 136s. At first I was looking at the different symbols, and anyway, it's going to take a bit of time to sort all that out. So, yeah. Right, so now what we're going to do, I think, hopefully I've got this right, all the black C's, because it's all the black boxes we're using, going by this Japanese setup key and scenario setup display. D-Day the 15th of June, it's for scenarios 1 and for scenario 4, and it's all the units in the black boxes. And obviously when we look on this display, if any of them are marked with a black star, we'll get a depth marker in there. So, but at first I think I'm going to put all the units. I don't think this is meant, well, there's quite a few depth markers. Obviously they're going to go underneath. Maybe I'm as well... I might be... No, you know what? No. I'm going to put the units in first. So what I'm going to do is take all the ones that are in the Black Seas and flip them over, shuffle them up, and then put them on the map, I think. Right, so I mixed up all the seas, they're just off camera. There's 17 of them. So I'm hoping there's 17 Black Seas out here. Now I've shuffled up the depth markers as well, so once I come across one, I'll if it's needing a depth marker, we'll put it down. So I think the first unit, the first one there is there, and that's A2, position A2. Yeah, you're not going to be able to show both, are you, Grant? A2's there. So that was there, and there's no depth marker, so I'm just going to randomly place one of them. I've shuffled them up onto there with no depth marker. Right, and then we can see, you can maybe just see sorry, that was A2, wasn't it? A2, that was that one, and then A6 is there, the purple one, and that's just there, you just see on camera, I think, and again, no depth marker for that one as well. So I think that's the way we go about it, so I'm just going to go, down the columns there of hexes and see which ones, and then place them all out. Yeah, there's not any, I don't think there's any depth markers attached to any of these C's actually. Okay, so I'll go and place the rest of them out, and then we'll see how we've got on with that. Okay, well, I've got some of them placed. Look, they're all going along smoothly. This hex on the map is marked A16. I seem to remember some comment about some errata for that. So, if we see it here, I think it's marked A18. So, my guess is, well, what have we got? We've got 10, 13. Yeah, I think it probably should be a 16, but I can't see there's a 14 up there, yeah. I think it probably should be 16, so I think the A18 on this display might be wrong. However, as that hex, where are we? Where are we? Here. Yeah. So it is that hex. There was, I'm pretty sure it's been commented somewhere, that one. Right, I'll get the rest. I've got 2, 4, I've got 6 more to place, so hopefully there's spaces for them. Yeah, so it did. That's me placed all the C's out, and it doesn't look like there's asking for any more of them, so yeah. And none of them had the black star in the box, so none of them have got depth to start with. I've only got seven D's. There's one starts along here in position A3. Oh, that's got a black PB as well, and it's got the black star. So that's position A3. So that not only gets a pillbox as well, doesn't it? Right, let me find one of them. So that was position A3 up there. So I'm going to grab the pillbox and a depth marker and one of the random D's for that. Okay, so that's obviously pretty well fortified, that position. Right, and I'll go and place the other 6. Yeah, looks like these are coming with, oh, not them all. The next one I can see is actually is that A4 just beside it, the yellow one. That just comes in on its own. Then we've got A1, the blue one. Again, that's another D. And right, A14 as a depth marker, so I'll randomly pick one of them for depth in there, and there it goes on top. D9 is next. It's got depth as well. This one along here. Well, I say it's next. It's the next one I've seen, so. Where are we? That was D9. Yeah, black star. D17 is a purple one. That's just on its own. That's along here. And I've only got one left, so hopefully that's right. D17. I've got D9. I'm going to try and find this last one then. No, I'm not finding this last one. I do have one left over, so I seem to remember I maybe read something about somebody having something left over, but right, let me go and have a look into it. Okay, I thought I'd read something somewhere. Somebody questioned. There is one unit left over, but it actually says in the Japanese setup that Japanese units from all Scenario 1 groups that are not placed on the map are placed face down in the Japanese reserve units pool. So I guess there's that sort of randomness of one left over. I mean, it was marked as a black D, so I'm not sure. So, Japanese reserve units pool. Okay, so I'll just put that over there then. And I guess there's going to be a few more that will appear in there. So that's me set up the C's and the D's. But I might as well go on and set up the rest. I think that's what the intention is. It could well be that we're not going to see them until later in the game, and I could probably get away with just leaving them off just now, because you can see that I think, well, I don't know, are we not landing across here as well? Yeah, but I'm going to put them out on the map anyway. They'll just randomise the A's. We've got A's, B's, E's, maybe an F. Looks like there's only one F. It's not very random then, is it? It's going to be that unit. And some G's as well. So I'll get them put out, and that should populate the rest of the map a bit better. Alright, so I'm going to put the A's down first, and we've got 3, 6, 9, we've got 12 of them. The first one I'm looking at is B5, and it's got a pull box and a depth marker there. So was it B5? So pull box. I'm assuming it goes down the bottom. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Then depth. Then the unit itself. So strong position there. Yeah, quite a lot of these around this area here. But I'll go and put them. I think the majority of them don't have depth. There's not that many depth markers start and play. Oh, there is a few actually. I'm gonna look about. Right, I'll get these put on anyway. Right, the last couple. There's a C. Oh no, that's a pull box. There's a C7, and then C5 here has a pull box and depth as well. Well, it's a mounted map, this, which is generally great. I don't mind it, but it's not really. I've bent it a little bit to try and think about it doing a bit, but oh, that is the last unit. Right, good. Right, that's the last one. So there's no leftovers of them. Doesn't look like there's any other of them to go. Right, I'll get the B's now. I think they're going up in this area. We've got E2 just on its own, and then E1, but there's a pull box and depth as well with E1. Is that right? Yeah. There's artillery, I think, in there as well, but I've not got to that yet. I don't know if we. E1, and then E3 has depth. No pull box for that one though. And I've got two more. E5, which is the red one down there. Again, pillbox and depth. That's E5. I've got one left, but I'm not sure I can see this, so it could well be. I think, funnily enough, B and D was mentioned. Somebody had commented. I'll just double check before I put in the reserve pool. Yeah, my guess is that must be a spare as well, so. Oh, no, stop, hang on. Oh no, I've got that one, am I not? B8. No, I've not actually. Right, give me that back. Yeah, it's down here, B8 beside. Yeah, it's got a pillbox as well. So pillbox, depth, and then the unit. Strange that that one is left over then. That does seem a bit odd, doesn't it? Like there's something kind of missing. Well, maybe not. Right, okay, so we've still got E's, that one F and the G and some G's to come out. There's 4 E's. B15 has depth. That's that one there. No pillbox though. And C10 on its own. C4 has depth. We've got one more. 1, 2, 3. Right, not seeing that right now. No, I'm definitely not seeing the other E. There was 4 units and there's only 3 black E boxes on the map. So that must be another spare right enough. Okay, and the G's are kind of up, mainly up that way, so I'll get them next. Right, I just had a quick look, counting them out there. I've got 7, and there is 7 places for them. And these are all pretty much on their own, I think. So we've got F7 way up there. And F5 and F6 on there. On there. I guess is that if we only play the first, if we do play the first scenario, we're not going to get anywhere near on any of this. F1. And who knows, we play the full scenario, we might not get anywhere near them as well. Knowing how these games can be. F2, and then there's one more, and I think it's a good bit further down. Yeah, it's a way down. It's in C13, which is way down here. That's where it's getting a bit glary with that lamp. C13, that was a G. Yeah, that's the last one. So, and then the F is actually down. I know that's going to be even more glary. That can I come around a bit? That's a bit better. As in C9. I mean, there is only the one F unit. So, and it's got a pillbox. There's pillbox counters. Right. I can't run out of them. Right, there we go. C9. So there with depth, and then the unit. Let's say it. You could probably remember that one maybe if you had looked at it. But I just flipped it over and put it down. I'll never remember it. Yeah, okay. So I think that's all the Japanese setup. We've got the reserve set. There was 2 that ended up in the reserve units pools. 2 spares. One from D and one from B, I think it was. Right, and then we've got a bunch of depth markers left as well. But they're just going to go into this depth marker pool. And yeah, and then we'll get the US unit set up. Okay, been on pause for quite some time there. Yeah, there's a lot of organisation. I think when I put this game away, I'm going to... Yeah, these are well worth trying to organise. Whether you mark them and maybe get a lot of different wee baggies and mark them separately. I think something needs to be done. There's a big setup procedure there. I mean, again with the US units as well, but you can see that the Japanese units, It'd take quite some time if you just got them all jumbled in a baggie. So I think I'll try and fix that a bit when I put things away. However, right, so that's well, these are all starting in these beach landing. Are they beach landing boxes? Yeah, I think that's what they are, aren't they? Right, just kind of balancing the camera here. It just swing round at this because I've not got space to like show this off again. But this is, what is this? What is this here for all scenarios? This is on this, what's it called again? Scenario setup display. Okay, which is what we're following. But I mean, scenario start line key, D-Day 01 line, 16th to 17th of June, and then 18th of June. So there's 3 different starting lines. I mean, that box there, for all scenarios, right? I mean, I worked out the first part. Select all units with the same scenario and letter coding, then flip them so they are hidden to form that letter code setup pool. Then randomly place the units of the pool so that all locations with the same code for that scenario are occupied. Now, I worked that out. I mean, okay, it's maybe not too difficult to work out, but it's a bit vague. Well, at least I think that means that you do what I've done with the Japanese units, the C's, the D's, and whatever. And then the next bit, US units are set up by regimental groups. Okay, maybe there is something to this. All units of that regiment must start within 3 hexes of the regimental HQ. Any support units of that division may be placed within range of any of that division's regimental HQs. At least 1 AFV and 1 engineer must be placed with each regimental HQ. Command range of all regiments at the start of a scenario is always 3. Well, okay, I haven't read through the rule book yet, but I mean, what does all that mean? I can only assume that means starting... I want to say that it's something to do with these HQs that are shown on the map, and it must be for one of the later scenarios, scenario 2 or 3, I guess, where we've got these HQs on the map. Yeah, I don't know. That just is kind of vague, kind of not really. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's more in the rulebook that would guide me towards that, but I think this could have been, I don't know, explained a little better about what I mean. It doesn't even mention Japanese units there. It's like, nah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting tired. Because, to be honest, looking through all the units was a bit hard going. Okay, so let's just get this finished up anyway. So I've set them out as the display. Now, just looking at the first group there, and they're in red too. So it's the beach landing box there. I'm not quite sure how they'll all go together. Now, you get given 3 of these. These are they're the LVTs, aren't they? And again, this is in the back page, the master reinforcement list. It says, important, no more than 2 of the below units may be placed in any one beach landing box. So we get any red beach as the 2 LVTs, which are these. Oops. So I've but you can only have 2 in any one beach landing box. So obviously I can only have 2 in one and 1 in the other, between the 2. And then it's the same with them all. So I've spread them out accordingly. So some of these units will have to go in without them. I can't remember how it is. We'll look at how it is. They go ashore with them. And then you'll see these engineer units just behind outside the box. Well, they're sort of the next wave, the second wave, but they still arrive on game turn 1. And it says there the below units land on game turn 1 at the end of the US action phase. After all other actions are complete, the player conducts beach landing procedures normally. However, second wave units may not move from their beach hex this game turn. So what we do is we land all these. We have a Japanese fire phase, we then have a US action phase, and then at the end of that action phase, we land these 4 engineers units on this side of the beach, and they just land. They're not able to do anything once they land. And then there's the same across this side as well. There's the same. It's a similar setup, and again with the LVTs, about how to drop them in. The one sort of, again, I'm catching a few sort of misprints, which I hadn't read before as well. So it talks on the setup display, it shows these engineer units in this section as A, C, B, and D, which, you would think A, B, C, and D, but it shows A, C, B, and D. It shows that on the setup display, and it also shows it in the US Master Reinforcement list. However, when it comes to these ones here, again, in the Master Reinforcement list, it shows A, C, B, and D. However, on the setup display, it actually shows them as A, B, C, and D. I'm kind of thinking that they should be A, C, B, and D. I could have that wrong, whether it's that relevant or not. They've all got the same weapons. They're all the same strength. They are different shapes. They do have different symbols on them. So, but it's on the reinforcement list. Like I say, I'll just stick with that, I think, and then it just kind of goes a bit off on the actual setup display. Okay, right. Well, I think everyone's set. So, and yeah, sorry again, glare up there. So we've got the turn track is away up the top there. It just basically passes through the turns. There's a wee star showing, and then there's a triangle and a square. Right, need to work out what they are. Probably you can't see up to there, but what that is. So we're on turn 1, and then I think we just follow. Again, I'll have to do something about that light. The phase marker here is on the US Amphibious Ops phase. Yeah, so I think that's all we need. I've got counters scattered about elsewhere as well, because we've got reinforcements to arrive as well. But their boxes are just for losses there, aren't they? So we've not got holding boxes. So I think we just set our other units down. The US units are down here. Yeah, so I just need to set them off map. But yeah, quite a setup procedure there. Now, don't get me wrong, the original games, Omaha, Tarawa, and Peleliu. Omaha was probably a bit easier. Maybe Tarawa and Peleliu got a wee bit busier. And I know Iwo Jima, when I done it, it was kind of like this. It's bringing back memories. But hopefully the rules are intact to take care of the stuff that wasn't appealing to me, and not just me. I don't think. Yeah, it was just one of these things that maybe went wrong, and a bit disappointing to sort of realise that the rules are poor, and then that's why I wasn't keen on picking this up. But there you go. I've done it now. Yeah. Well, give them another chance, eh? Give them another chance, and hopefully it's good. The quality of the game's great. The counters are brilliant. Really, really good counters compared to the original games. Now I only had the first edition of the Omaha, Tarawa, and Peleliu, so it's paper maps. And my guess is when you got the what's the solid map? What am I trying to say here? When you got the hard map, whether the counters were better, and because they brought out new versions of Omaha as well, didn't they? Omaha, Tarawa, and Peleliu, I think. So maybe the counter quality is better, but the counters are really good quality, like they really are. I remember with my Tarawa, that was the first one I got. Some of these were a bit off-centered and not the best. Omaha. I remember, well, if any of you watched my playthrough, I did mention the fact that I'd bought it second hand, and whoever I bought it from had clicked the counters, but must have just been a pair of scissors or something. Some of them were a bit shoddy, yeah. But anyway, okay, right, okay. Well, an hour and 10 minutes there just to set the game up. Yeah, I don't know if I'll dash in it. I do have a bit of time, so maybe, but I don't want to just maybe get back to Red Storm and get that first scenario finished off first before I start this. Yeah, so yeah, any of the questions that have come up there, I think that was probably a daft thought about me thinking everybody was getting free moves to start with. But I don't think we had that command situation within the first 3 games. Now, it might well be in Iwo Jima, so I'm not quite sure what all that's about. If they're not in command, it sounds like maybe you can't give them an action at all. Maybe that's that's starting to ring a bell. Maybe it's something to do with that. And it was throwing me about, like I say, the person that asked the question kind of made me start wondering. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the game's good, and hopefully it brings us back to Tarawa, Peleliu, and yeah, yeah. We'll see. Right. Well, I'll be back with either this next or a bit more Red Storm. Not sure. Probably Red Storm. Try and get that scenario finished, like I say. Okay. I'll be back soon anyway. Cheers.